Alright guys, here's a Chromaggus kill from my guild. Everybody starts out on the left. I start in front of the gate, and we have someone pull the lever back in the back. Some of the raid is going to run through to the left and be back there DPSing, and then line of sight back there, and the rest will be in the front. So I'm just going to blow my Berserker Rage, my Blood Rage, get a Stone Shield pot up, and just get as much threat as possible off the rip. Blow a Trinket. I'm dual wielding through all this. I'm going to dual wield pretty much the entire time on this boss, except for when he does his breaths or if my health gets low and stays low. So I tank him right here in the doorway just to make sure that the healers can stay out of line of sight of his breath. You don't want to pull him too far out of the room, and you don't want him to be too far in the room. You can see that the warlocks and mages, in this case the warlocks, are catching up to me just because of his vulnerability. You want to keep an eye on the threat meter with this boss. You see there my health dipped. I put on a shield late. I should have put it on right before the breath went out, which I usually do, but I was busy watching the threat meter there. Back to dual wielding. You want to make sure you're swapping back and forth on bosses like the Drakes and like Chromaggus. Hard-hitting bosses where you need to put on a shield for a few seconds and then take it back off. So yeah, just keep pumping threat. So his first, he has 2 breaths out of 5. We got lucky he didn't have time lapse, so he had a corrosive acid and incinerate. If you have good healers, which we do, they'll put a bubble on you, a priest bubble, power word shield before the breaths. That helps mitigate quite a bit of the damage, and just keep an eye on the threat. I usually don't death wish on this boss just because of the damage that comes out. I'll keep an eye on the threat meter, and I might death wish later in the fight if I need to when we get closer to execute phase. But I don't death wish on the pool on this boss for the same reason I don't do it on the Drakes. It's just it's not really necessary, at least in my guild. So yeah, Chromaggus is fairly easy. You just keep that up until everybody runs out of line of sight when he breaths, and runs back in until he dies.